Hi all, I'm Billy No Mates and this is hashtag Let's Get Awkward. And we are back on JK, who is now turning into her very real life Voldemort. The only difference is Voldemort actually seemed charming when expressing his views, and she's just being downright rude and fails to hide the flaws in her logic. So she's actually more of a Cornelius Fudge, so let's call her Cornelia Fudge. And just like the character, there is a build up to a great fall if she carries on the way she is. But don't worry, we are not going to focus on her, more of her tweet and the tweet she liked and her stance once again on transgenders. As well, she's now looking at conversion therapy, calling hormone blockers basically the treatment for transgenders is just a new gay conversion therapy. And she sent a tweet saying, "Many, myself included, believe we are watching a new kind of conversion therapy for young gay people who are being set on a lifelong path of medicalization that may result in the loss of their fertility and or full sexual function." And then she liked a tweet where it says hormone prescriptions is the new antidepressants, calling it lazy option for those who would rather medicate than put in the time and effort to heal people's minds. Bear in mind that Cornelia, aka JK, she is not a doctor, she's not a scientist, she's not an expert on gender or anything in medical backgrounds. As one person put it, she is a billionaire, cisgender, heterosexual white woman who has decided that she knows what is best for us and our bodies. This is not her fight. So, today's episode, I decided to look at conversion therapy and transgender treatment for under 18s. And we'll be looking at both of them of the questions: what it is, what it does, who can access it, what are the benefits, and do we really need it? So now let's just jump down a twisted, confusing rabbit hole and start with what is conversion therapy. Conversion therapy, or the cure therapy, is used for any form of treatment or psychotherapy which aims to change a person's sexual orientation or suppress their gender identity. It is based on the idea a person of LGBT plus can be cured, despite it can be harmful and unethical. In the UK, all major counselling and psychotherapy bodies, including the NHS itself, agree it's dangerous, and organisations like Stonewall are working to ensure that the gender identity is covered to prevent all LGBT plus have to go through this horrifying torture. So the next question is what it does. As said above, it's meant to convert LGBT plus to normal, heterosexual, cisgendered people, because, God forbid, allowing people to live happy lives and have a loving relationships and for some families, including kids, dogs, cats, horses, or whatever animals they like, to make their lives whole. And they do this in various ways, such as looking into childhood trauma which may have triggered homosexuality. As we all know, gay sickness is the consequence of a child trauma. This is something I actually have experienced when confronted online. It was a Facebook group who was dedicated to protecting children from sexual, physical, emotional, and mental abuse. However, they believe that LGBT plus is a sickness stemming from people who had been abused as children by family members, social workers, carers, foster homes, etc. When challenging this belief, one person wrote the reason that I was a pansexual trans man was based on the fact that I was abandoned as a baby from birth by my birth parents. I had a hard life going from foster home to foster home, being sexually abused by men who worked there and never finding the stability that only a loving heterosexual couple could give me, leading me to go on to drugs alcohol, and tattoos with a promising future as a pedophile. Which kind of struck me really, because in all my life, no one ever said I had a promising future. So yeah, it's nice to see that someone did believe in me for 2 minutes. And on a serious note, I was completely taken back. A person I had never met, never spoken to till that day, had absolutely, without a single doubt, somehow got it 100% wrong. I know, how could they miss that? I was raised by my birth parents. Yes, they're heterosexual. It's a man and a woman with 3 other siblings in the home they owned for 22 years before selling. Never been in a foster home. Never had a social worker or a carer, etc. I'm a very light drinker. I think the last drink I had was last year, about July-ish, maybe June. It was I went out to the city for a friend's birthday, and I had 1 drink because someone had to be sober. Drugs, I've only taken legal ones mainly, and even then I'm careful. I look the drug up and, well, I panic when taking drugs. And I do have the occasional joint, but that's a discussion for another time. And yes, I do have tattoos. I have about 9 or 10. I think the best one I have is the one I have on my back. It is the villain Poison Ivy from Batman, and it has her last words from the Arkham Knight game saying nature always wins. But back to the matter at hand. Yes, I have had a troubled life, but saying it caused my so-called sickness is ignorant and dangerous. Another treatment is electric shock therapy and the use of nausea-inducing drugs while being shown erotic images of same-sex couples in hope to strengthen heterosexual feelings. It's like how some people train dogs with a spray bottle where the dog gets sprayed when doing bad things to teach them not to do it anymore, only it causes severe harm physically and mentally that they may not be able to recover from. Some places in the world, conversion therapy is being raped, and in hopes to straighten them out as they haven't found the right different gendered partner, or in my case, I haven't found the right man with the right penis. And no idea how a penis is going to fix it, though I am pansexual, so I'm good either way, penis or not. And last treatment I'll mention is exorcism. And I really don't have to go into detail about how dangerous that can be, especially when the person is unwilling to participate and forced by family to do so. Next part is who can access it. Currently in the UK, conversion therapy is not yet legal. It is strongly condemned though by the NHS, and if any doctor is advising such treatment, they should report it immediately. Now, the final question is, what are the benefits and do we need it? The answer is none and fuck no. Unless by benefits you mean causing mental, emotional, physical and lifelong harm to loved ones and watch them go down a path of self-harm, self-hatred and self-loathing and leading to ends I have nightmares about and places I've never wanted to be. And I've never been to conversion therapy myself. Now let's look at transgender treatment for under 18 years old. It starts off with a referral to a gender identity development service, and waiting list may vary, especially depending on your area. There is a team including a child psychologist, a child psychotherapist, a child and adolescent psychiatrist, a family therapist, and a social worker. The team carry out a detailed assessment, usually done over 3 to 6 appointments over a period of several months. Depending on the results, there are options such as family therapy, individual child psychotherapy, parental support or counselling, group work for young people and their parents, regular reviews to monitor gender identity, referral to a local children and young people's mental health service, and a referral to a specialist hormone clinic for hormone blockers who meet strict criteria. As you can see, most of these options are psychological, so I won't call them lazy as people put it. The information I'm getting is from the NHS, and they understand that behaviours, feelings may disappear as children reach puberty. Puberty blockers is medicine that prevents puberty, such as breast development and facial hair. Yes, like all meds, there are side effects, but if you look at any other medicine, there is a long list from gaining weight or losing weight, no sleep or a lot of sleep. And it does sound scary, but they have to put it in, no matter how small the percentage, because there is always going to be that small percent who, well, have that reaction. I mean, I had an epidural during pregnancy, and at the time I think it's like 1 in 2,000 or something would have a reaction, and I had a reaction. So there was a small chance that someone will have it. At 16, teens who have had hormone blockers for at least 12 months may be given access to cross-sex hormones, leading to breast development and breaking or deepening the voice. Again, all meds have side effects. So in one hand, we have conversion therapy, which is psychological and physically damaging, caused by one-way thinking of it is wrong and push them into a slot they don't fit. Or on the other hand, you have psychological help where they explore these experiences with you and your family and do not try to fit you in a slot they want, but a slot you want. When I was having my first few appointments, I was guided not by closed and leading questions. They were open ones which let me think through my feelings without being steered to a traumatic childhood experience or a traumatic any experience and told everything I felt was wrong. They even helped me with seeing someone about my autism, and the person was great and understanding. Even got them to write a short letter to say it was not my mum's fault I have autism. I got it framed for her. It was a kind of way of saying I still love her and, everything's okay. I'm happy with who I am. Point is, no kid can say I am trans, non-binary, and get the pills just like that. It is a careful process that takes a shit ton of time and care. How is this lazy? This is far from lazy. And also saying that antidepressants is lazy way is grossly misleading, as it feels like it's based on the idea the government made these pills to control us. I mean, come on, this is not the video game We Happy Few, where you get to pop a pill and we get to see rainbows in a matter of seconds. No, this is hard work. I mean, lazy is a rich person getting plastic surgery to have a six-pack because they don't want to do the work. Lazy is eating all you want at the all-you-can-eat buffet while having liposuction at the same time. Lazy is a white billionaire cis woman with no medical degree writing about something they have no experience nor knowledge in and saying it's fact. And you can point out that I'm a white trans man with no medical degree. But at least I spend my time doing the research and listening to those who do. I learnt this from college because I had to do a ton of work for my HNC and I had to go through a ton of books and then another ton of books to explain what the first ton of books told me and see who would back and see if anyone else in the field backed it up. If JK just looked on the NHS site, then she would know what I do. It took me 5 minutes to find this information on the NHS site and just shove aside all those crazy ideas they believe in. And finding yourself in your teen years is hard, it's long, and yeah, you're going to question yourself. But there are many paths to take to find out who you are. Cis, trans, non-binary, gender fluid, gay, straight, bi, pansexual, demisexual, asexual, omnisexual. The list goes on. There's loads of sexual preferences and gender identities, so I won't go into all of them. Back to the topic. With all the superhero stuff I've watched, even villains are more happy when they find themselves. One example was Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He didn't know who he was, and he wanted to be an honourable man. And he believed it was finding the Avatar and taking him back home and getting his father's acceptance. And even when he did get that, he was still like, am I on the right side? Because I have what I want, but I'm still angry. It did take him time looking into himself, battling with both sides of himself, good and evil. And then bam, he finally found out who he was, he did the right thing, he joined Team Avatar, and he became the leader of the Fire Nation, best friends with his great-grandfather, who is younger than him, long story, and changing the regime his father wanted to have, and was building till he was overthrown. Conversion therapy is dangerous, and is torture for those made to go through it. Like many dangerous medical procedures in the past, it has no place here. Come to think of it, it had no place ever. If you are against gay marriage, then don't marry a person of the same gender. Are you against transgenders and non-binaries? Leave them alone. We'll leave you alone. I'll say what I say when I hear about two actors who don't want to work with each other because they hate each other. Be civil and do your job. Or in this case, be civil and live your life. Don't get behind the idea, oh, we are only doing this because we care and we want to help. No, you don't. Help is not forcing a person to be who they are not, ignoring the pain it causes them, lying to yourself about how their fake smile is real, and you're doing the right thing, especially when others who are closed-minded as you are agreeing with you. There is no sugarcoating something like this. We need to make it illegal. End of. No compromise can be made when it comes to this. It doesn't help people. It doesn't make things better. It makes it worse. I can't sit and say, oh, it'll all blow over. We were told it would be made illegal a few years ago, and we are still waiting. Please write to the government and take a stand against them and those who use misinformation to support it. We just really need it to stop, because people are just living in this wonderful fantasy world of theirs, thinking everything's fine, and if they do things their way, it's going to be fine. And they're ignoring that what they want is hurting people. So please do write to the government, write to a local MP and tell them gay conversion therapy needs to be gone, and we do not want the changes of transgender rights that Boris Johnson is planning to make. We need our life to be easier, to live a normal, equal life, not harder. That's the end of the episode. Next week's episode will be posted on Saturday, as I will be away Sunday. Remember, when having conversations about trans, non-binary or any LGBT plus issue, remember to always hashtag Let's Get Awkward, as it challenges people. No one ever looks deep down and challenges what they believe in a polite conversation. It's always the awkward questions that gets them. If you want to know more about trans, non-binary, then go to mermaidsuk.org.uk. As always, we're not sponsored by them. We just love mermaids. So hopefully we'll see you next week. And as I said, episode will be posted on Saturday night, not Sunday. And thanks again for listening. See you all later.